So I already primed my eyes with my Urban Decay eye primer. I think I just said Urban Decay. I mean... Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a 3 looks 1 palette with the new Haunted Europe palette from Nomad Cosmetics. So I was sent this in PR. So I already have a first impression video up on my channel and I'll link it here. I used about half the mattes already and a few of the shimmers. So this just came out this last week. It is currently out of stock. It sold out day of, which congratulations Nomad. And they are doing a pre-order. So they did say that the estimated delivery will be in October, so hopefully you'll have this before Halloween, if that's what you want. And they are offering free shipping on US orders because of it selling out so fast, and I think discounted shipping on international orders. So this is one of their 18 shade palettes, so it retails for $44. If you do buy it, make sure you use a discount code. I was sent this in PR, my first PR, so I didn't need to use one, but normally I would use like my friend Steven's. His is Steven10, it's 10% off. You don't have to use his, just use a code from someone. There's lots of them out there. It's really beautiful. It has a 12-month shelf life, and it's got this really beautiful, interesting holographic cover. So this is the color story if you haven't already seen it. Like I said, I already have a video up with the first impression. I did a look and I did live swatches so you can see how the shades actually look. I've already used the greens and blues and the green and blue shimmers and then a couple of the other shades. So I already used this shade up here and then I did a two-tone crease with Grendel and Black Forest, and then I used the two green shimmers, this Big Bad Wolf blue shimmer, and then I used this Count Dracula shade. So far everything's great, everything's swatched well. The shimmers are all the normal Nomad sparkly shades. So I'm really excited. I have a lot of ideas. Today I'm gonna do a look on each eye and then a third look later where I do both as the same look. And if you're new here, my name is Colin. I'm a Latinx non-binary scientist and lover of makeup, especially indie makeup and colorful makeup. And I'd love to have you subscribe. I have new content every week. So I've already done my base. It's my normal Fenty and Kosas combo. My blush is from Trixie Cosmetics. So is my highlighter. And then my lipstick and bronzer are Haus Labs. This is the shade Talk Dirty, which is one of those Your Lips But Better shades for me at least, because it's kind of got that mauve undertone. And I'll have all of the details in the description box. So I already primed my eyes with my Urban Decay eye primer. So I'm gonna go ahead and start going in. Going in with a Sigma E25, the blending brush. So I'm gonna dip into Ghost River, and I think I'm gonna stick kind of in this area, but you'll see I have an idea, but I really want this Bloody Mary shade to be in the first look. So I'm just gonna use the mirror on the palette, and I'm gonna put that Ghost River shade all over my crease as my transition shade. So I hope everybody's having a good weekend. If you hear any weird noises, my partner is currently in the shower. He just did a Peloton ride, so he is showering, but I didn't want to wait to start filming. So that's going on beautifully. It's a nice kind of mauve-y, purpley undertone neutral. And so it goes really well. So you've got like a warm neutral and a mauve neutral and then like a gray neutral down here. So you've got a nice mix of transition shades. Okay, so that's basically blended itself out. Looks beautiful. I hope the lighting's okay today. So we're officially transitioned to the gray weather in Seattle. So it's raining and like overcast, and this is what I will be living in for the next probably like 6 months, except for the occasional sunny day. So hopefully this lighting's okay, because I'm kind of reliant on the windows in my living room. Okay, and then next I'm going to take a smaller blending brush. This is also from Sigma, it's an E27, and I'm going to go into Count Dracula, which is that dried blood colored shade. Looks a little bit lighter there, but I should be able to color correct for that. I'm gonna put that in my crease and outer V. The joys of basically living in a glorified studio here in Seattle is that we have very little space. So I don't have like a filming room. I'm just filming in my living room because our bedroom is too small. Also doesn't have a door. It's like a little alcove thing with a sliding door, but the sliding door is not really soundproof. So life in quarantine was interesting because very close quarters, us and the dog 24/7. So that's blending into Ghost River beautifully, which is what I expected. They definitely look like they would pair well together, just different depths. So I'm just running that throughout the crease. And then I think I'll end up taking Black Forest, the dark blue, because this brand Castle shade is not quite dark enough and I want something to really deepen the outer V. So I'll probably take a little bit of that blue to deepen. But I really like the way this looks so far. I really like the Nomad mattes. They blend together really nicely, and these in particular seem to build really well. I don't know if they made any changes from previous palettes to this one. So sometimes I like to do different tones on the lower lash line, but I think today I'm gonna stick with the same one. So I'm gonna go into Count Dracula on my little smudging brush and run that along right here, and then blend it out with the Ghost River. I think I want the interest of this look to be these shimmers and not the mattes. Okay, so I really like the way this looks. I blended out the edges and I just packed a little bit more of Count Dracula in the outer V, and I think it looks dark enough. I don't think I need to add any of the blue. So I really want to use Bloody Mary, and then I'm thinking of also this Huska Castle shade, which is the more like yellow gold. This has yellow sparkle running through it, so I think the two will blend together really nicely. And that picks up really nicely. It's this really pretty red cranberry-ish shade. I'm gonna put that on most of my lid. And slowly ruin the little bat embossing as I do this. So that looks really pretty. And you can see even on camera how reflective it is, especially after filming with those ColourPop quads the other day and how bad they looked. This is very refreshing. That looks really pretty. And then I'm gonna dip in with the same brush to that gold shade and pack that on the inner third. And also like up a little bit. And then I'm gonna blend the two together. Sometimes I almost feel bad using the actual shades because it ruins the whole embossings, but you know, they're made to be used, so I'm gonna use them. They're too pretty not to use. So I have another look in mind where I really want to use this Krampus shade, but I think I am gonna take a little bit of that on the outer part as well, just to blend the Bloody Mary shade into the Count Dracula shade. I think it needs that little bit of depth. Okay, and then on a pencil brush, I'm going back into that gold shade, the Huska Castle, and I'm just running that along the inner corner and just slightly under right here. I'm gonna do eyeliner and stuff at the end, so I'm gonna switch over to the other eye, do most of that, and then I'll do mascara and stuff all at once versus back to back. Okay, so on this eye, I think I'm gonna try and do just a standard folly orangey neutral look using Frankenstein, the Spandu Castle, or Spandu Citadel, and the Boogeyman shade. So I'm gonna start with Frankenstein, which is the orange in the palette. And on another Sigma E25, I'm gonna blend that all over my crease as my transition shade. It's a really pretty orange, just kind of a true pumpkin-y orange. Perfect for this time of year. And it's blending out really nicely. If I need to, I can go into this neutral transition shade to blend the edges. Take a little bit on the outer corner, just make sure I have the shape right. And then yeah, I'm gonna go into that Mary King's Close and blend out the edges just to make sure they're nice and even and smooth. It basically blended themselves, but it's more into my skin tone, which if you're new here, I'm a medium olive tone. And then next, I'm gonna go into this burnt orange down here. And I'm gonna go in on a slightly smaller blending brush, just like before. These are all kind of permanently stained because I use a lot of blue and green eyeshadow. So no matter how much I wash them, they're always a little off. And I'm gonna place that on the outer V a little bit and then through the crease. And then I think I'm gonna use this Drexholm Castle shade, the dark brown, to deepen the outer corner even more. But I want that nice gradient of light orange, deeper orange, brown. The kind of look that just screams fall to me. Which obviously, if you have these tones in another palette, you can do this with many warm neutral palettes, but I like that this palette has those warm neutrals for like a daily shadow. You can just use like the burnt orange all over the lid. You can do a smoky eye with just the brown, or you can go purple, you can go green, you can go blue. I like the options that this has. I think Nomad does a really good job at curating like interesting, unique color stories. And then I'm gonna take the same two shades and run them on the lower lash line. So I'm gonna do that real quick using a little packing brush like before. Rub the burnt orange all the way across and then blend it out with the lighter. And then just with that fluffy brush going right here. So I hope the road noise isn't too bad today, with it being the first time it's really rained in a while. It seems especially loud to me. I've tried to edit and like use some of those reduced background noise features while editing, but they make me sound really robotic. And so it's kind of that trade-off of, do I get rid of road noise from living on the main road, or do I sound robotic? And then I'm gonna go into that dark brown right here. And I'm putting that on this tiny Sigma brush. And I'm gonna put that on the outer V, because I just can't help but add a little bit of depth. I'm just gonna pack that right there and then blend it slightly into the crease, slightly underneath. I think this is a really interesting tone of brown. It's kind of cool toned, but it's not too cool. So it's just cool enough that I think it works with basically all of the mattes in here that you would want to use it with. Okay, so I really like the way that's looking. So next I'm going to go into the shimmers. So I think I'm gonna use primarily the Boogeyman shade, which is the like antique gold, this like more orange coppery gold. And then I might use a little bit of this green shade, the Highgate Castle, because it's an interesting shade. It looks pretty green here, but it's also kind of iridescent, and I think it'll blend nicely. So, it's a really pretty coppery color. And I'm gonna place that all over the lid. And this is just a flat packing brush from Morphe. It's a 124. I don't have that many brushes. I've either bought or received other brushes, and I just didn't like them. They weren't as good, so I gave them away. I'd rather have fewer brushes that I really love than a bunch of brushes that I have to clean that I don't really like using. So now I have almost all Sigma brushes and then just a few of these random Morphe brushes. Okay, I really like the way that looks. I'll probably go back in with Dragstone Castle on top of this on the outer corner for a little more depth. But it's a really reflective, really shiny, sparkly kind of coppery gold. And then let's try that Highgate Cemetery. You can see it's kind of iridescent, kind of green. And I'm just gonna put that right here, just for that little bit of extra. And then I'm gonna go back into this shade here and put a little right here. So back into that dark brown, and I'm just putting a little bit on top of the gold shimmer just to make sure that the depth wasn't lost. Okay, so I really like the way those both look. I'm gonna go off camera and add mascara and such, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back. And I added liner and mascara, and these are the finished first two looks, and I'm really happy with these. I love the way the like cranberry and gold mix together, and it's literally the same gold on my inner corner and on the inner part of my lid, but because these two have melted together, it looks different. So it kind of looks like I've got two different golds, and then the like red tones and the way the red and the purple have blended together. And then this is just, standard warm neutral eye, but I added that little bit of a pop of green. Really like that. And then this side is just a standard warm neutral eye, but I added that pop of green on the inner corner, and I really like the way that that works. This Highgate Castle, or Highgate Cemetery, is one of my favorite shades in the palette so far. I think favorite matte is probably going to be Count Dracula, and then my favorite two shimmers are Highgate Cemetery and the Catacombs, which the Catacombs will be in the next look that I do. But that's one thing I really love about Nomad shimmers is they blend so well together. Like they almost instantly kind of melt together and can form a new color or like just a really pretty gradient. So like I have 3 shimmers here, and like these two you can't really see apart, and then these two formed basically a new color. So I really like these. Let me know what you think in the comments below of these two looks, and then I will see you for the third one in a little bit, or for you, just a moment. Okay, so I am back to finish the third and final look for this video. I have all the same base makeup on as last time, just for continuity's sake. And I'm going to finally try the Catacomb shade. So I think I have an idea. It's gonna be a dark smoky look, but I love those, so I'm fine with it. So I'm gonna start today with a clean blending brush. This is a Sigma E25 like before, and I'm gonna go into this Bran Castle shade, which is that like bluey purple. And I'm gonna pick that up and put that into my crease. I might blend out the edges with Ghost River a little bit just because it's also a cool tone but a little lighter. But I want to start with this brand Castle shade all over, so I'm just lightly taking that and blending it all over. Once again, Urban Decay eye primer. This is blending really nicely. There was like some streaks right here, but the moment I went over them with my brush a second time, they already disappeared. And to help guide the shape to start with, I'm gonna go into the same shade and shape out the outer corner of my lower lash line. And it looks even. So you can see it looks a little darker, obviously it's packing on, but it looks a little more blue when you pack it as well. At least in person. This looks a little more gray and this looks a little more blue down here. Thankfully I've had zero fallout this whole time, so that's really nice. So I'm gonna go into Ghost River a little bit and just on the same blending brush, exact same brush. I've wiped off the product and I'm just going in like this to make sure the edges are nice and blended into my skin. With like gray and purple and blue tones, they're never gonna really blend into your skin that well because you don't have blue skin or blue undertones. But you can make the gradient nice and soft, especially if there's a bit of a gray to it. You don't have to worry about it blending out to a gray because it's already kind of gray. You just don't want it to look like a bruise, unless that's what you're going for. Okay, so I like this shape going up. I might clean up the edge a little bit with concealer at the end. Yeah, like right there. So I'm just gonna do one eye on camera and then I'll just copy it on the other side. So next I'm gonna go into Black Forest again, which I used in my first look, and pack that on the outer corner. It's a really nice deep blue. I used it in my crease the other day and it was not patchy at all, blended out really nicely. I'm trying to get this all filmed pretty quickly because that way I have tomorrow to film, or tomorrow, trying to film, get all of this filmed pretty quickly. That way I have tomorrow to edit because I have a couple other things that I filmed and need to edit because classes start again on Wednesday. So I want to be prepared and it's going to be busy as things go back in person. We are fully back in person. We've already had a COVID outbreak. So that's fun, like someone in the class I'm teaching. I don't know who, I was just told someone was and they, you know, probably won't be there the first week. So, not really looking forward to teaching in person. We thankfully are requiring masks, but there's just so much uncertainty and like, I'm teaching a class, or I'm one of the people teaching, like I'm one of the TAs this time, but I'm glad I'm not teaching it by myself because I have taught 100 students by myself, like lectured as the professor. It was tiring. This is 120 and I'm the TA, so less responsibility for me, especially in this chaos. Like, I'm happy for that. Okay, so I think that's what I'm gonna do for mattes for now. And then for shimmers, I'm gonna go into Krampus and the Catacombs. The Catacombs is a little more reflective and shiny. So I think what I'm gonna do is outer half or outer third or so Krampus, inner half Catacombs, and then this shade on the inner corner blended in. So there's a gradient from like the taupe to the silver to the purple, especially because this has like blue and gold and other colors speckled in it. I think it'll blend nicely. So I'm gonna get my brush wet It's just another one of these little Morphe brushes. I have a few because they're cheap and they work pretty well because they're just for shimmers for me. And I'm gonna start with Krampus, which I've already used a little bit of. It's really pretty purple. It's purple with also like pink, blue, and gold. So those, I like that Nomad does that, where like the shades have sparkles. Like Mary Cemetery has blue and gold and like a light green in it. So like everything has, this has gold sparkles. Everything kind of blends, especially with the sparkles helping. So this is a really deep shimmer, so that's why I'm putting it out here. So I'm just gonna pack that all over in kind of a diagonal shape, which helps with that lift, that cat eye shape. It's hard to say caught. And it's really, especially in person, you definitely see the like gold and like burgundy shades. Like it's got shades that kind of go with Bloody Mary that are like, as the light hits it, they like sparkle out. Then on the other side of the brush, I'm gonna go into the Catacombs, which is a really pretty gray, silver. And I'm gonna put that on this part of the lid. This is definitely a smoky eye, so hopefully this works the way I want it to. I don't wear really deep smoky eyes like this very often. And then back into the purple. I thought about doing them the other way around, but the purple is so deep and this is really reflective, and I think it'll blend well with that light, like that lighter shade. And then using a pencil brush, this is the E30 from Sigma. I have a couple pencil brushes, but this is my favorite. Going into that kind of taupey champagne, kind of a cool champagne. And I'm gonna put that on the inner corner and then into the Catacomb shade. This one's more of a satin than the others. Like the others are definitely more shimmery metallics, and this one feels like less shimmery. I don't mind it. I like that they do a mix of textures in their palettes. They definitely don't use satins as much as they used to. I feel like some of the older palettes had a lot more satin shades, but people just don't like them as much. So I think they listened and switched to the other ones. That's another thing I really like about Nomad, is they really listen to their customers. Okay, so I really like the way that looks. I'm gonna take a fluffy brush and go back into Brian Castle and a little bit of Ghost River and put those on the lower lash line to kind of blend out the other shades. And smoke out the lower lash line. Okay, so I'm gonna finish the other eye. I'm gonna do this on the other eye and then add mascara and stuff, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back and this is the finished third and final look. I really love the way this came out. I had this idea in my head like as soon as I touched the palette, but I was saving it for this. I really like the way the purple and the gray have kind of blended together, and it's so pretty. And like I said before, the Nomad shimmers just blend into each other so nicely and just melt together. So this like sparkly gray purple is so nice. I went ahead and did mascara and that stuff. I didn't bother with lashes again. I just don't have time today to fight with them. I have dinner plans in a little while. And then I embraced the smokiness of this and used a black liner in my waterline, my normal one from Haus Labs, and just tidied up the edges just a little bit. I'd gone a little too far down right there, but that's all I did off camera, was duplicate this eye and then finish. And I'm glad that I'm basically done because it's getting kind of dark out. I don't know if the lighting will have changed. I'll notice when I edit. Hopefully I can get this edited and up tomorrow. I don't see why not. And then I'll edit the other stuff later that I have filmed. I wanted to do other stuff this weekend because my birthday is on Tuesday. Today is Sunday, but my partner hurt his foot and my best friend is sick. And so all of my like birthday weekend plans kind of fell apart or / moved to next weekend. Although we did have concert tickets for last night and didn't go because of sick and everything. So that could not reschedule, but looking forward to my birthday. We'll see what happens this week with my birthday and school starting. So thoughts on the palette. I really love this. I've used every shade now. I've used some of them in multiple looks, but I've used all 18. This one is, like I said before, more satiny than like not the same formula as the other metallics, but you can see it still looks really pretty on my inner corner. If it's not bright enough for you, you can always go in with like a champagne or whatever highlighter you might have that you used for your face. All of the mattes blended really well. They all build really well for being a soft, really blendable formula. Sometimes those don't build well, like you can't build multiple shades, but some of these looks I used 3 or 4 mattes and they all worked well together, nothing turned muddy. The shimmers are really beautiful. I like how dark a lot of them are. Like there's some really bright ones here. This is pretty bright, that can be pretty bright, but you've got these really dark, smoky ones. You've got some smoky tones. You've got some really unique shades. Like I was talking to my friend Steven and he was saying that this top, or like this side, actually is his favorite. He doesn't wear these kind of tones very often. He tends to go neutral and sparkly and iridescent and light. But because these are so unique, he thinks that these might be his favorite. So, and that just speaks to this. So I really like that I went very smoky for this. I feel it's fitting for the ghostly theme for this. So for those of us in the United States, this is very much a Halloween palette, but for the rest of the world, they don't necessarily celebrate Halloween, especially in Europe. I know Halloween's not really a thing, and this is a Europe themed palette, but it's still spooky season. It's still fall, winter, you know, gray out. The weather that's outside is very much fitted for this, at least for me in here in Seattle. So I think this is a perfectly timed palette. I think it's a really interesting idea, concept. I like that instead of a single destination, it's lots of individual destinations, kind of like the America's Parks palette, how each was like different parks and things, but it was like a broader theme. I think that's where Nomad's going, like concept wise, and I really like that. I'm really excited to see what they do next. I definitely think this is worth the $40. Like I said, if you do get this, make sure you use a discount code. Get at least 10-15% off whatever you can. Always save money when you can. Pre-orders are going on right now, so if you do want to grab this, you can, even though it is sold out, and it shouldn't take too long. They said that there was stock on its way to them already. So love this. Really, really happy I got this, and thank you so much again, Nomad, for sending this my way. I'm so grateful. You have no idea. So let me know in the comments below what you think of these looks, if you picked this up or if you plan to. And thank you again for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video.